Welcome back, dear friends. I thought I'd mention something in this video hopefully will be of interest to some people. I find it very interesting, as always. I need to get out more. Let's talk power showers. It is an Aqualisa. As I say, it's 23 years old, and it was meant not to last this long. I can tell you 100% that Aqualisa designed this with a number of built-in flaws so that it would last about 6 to 7 years and then not be worth rebuilding, or they'd have to buy a new one. It's absolutely disgusting. Let me talk you through it. Well, let me just say one other thing. What's finally happened is it started dripping, because the seals in that you turn this on and off, obviously this has been falling off for ages because that was really small. It's really small, and you think the twisting force is on that. So that fell off, and I kept pushing it on and gluing it, and in the end it just fell off. And I thought I'll be clever and drill a hole and tap a hole in the end of the spindle, and obviously that then meant you couldn't switch it off at all. Completely ruined it. So I've bought a new one of those cartridges, they call them, and I've seen the pictures over the years, like you do, and I've wondered what they're all about. Let me show you. This is the original 23-year-old one, which has worked remarkably well. And what it is, it has got a funny coil, which I've always wondered, what on earth is that? What does it function? What does it do? Well, it's a bimetallic coil, so let me just twist it around. It basically pushes more and more firmly on this thing at the end, this seal, which in turn, I believe, allows cold water in, because this is the bit that's all connected. It goes to the pump, that's right. So this is where it's all mixed all around here, and I suppose that helps it mixing, because the hot water goes in a slot here that's moulded into the enclosure of this. So there's hot there, cold there, I think. Might be the other way around, who knows. And then obviously, once you set the temperature by turning the front of this, which moves this in and out, it takes less or more pressure to open and close the cold, I think. Isn't that fascinating? Inside here, and it obviously is a two-moulded piece. It's got to be made of two pieces. I can't see how it comes apart. Once the new one's arrived and hopefully fits, I will destruct this one and see what's inside it. I assume some sort of ceramic seal. So that's interesting. Finally reveal and understand what this is all about. 120 quid's worth of what it's all about, but is that, the other thing, these showers are astronomical. I paid about £130, I seem to remember, for mine, because it's got a built-in pump and you supply it with the cold and the hot gravity-fed water, and then it pressurises it, mixes it, all that. Now they are on average 670 quid. That is unbelievable. Nothing's changed. Everything about it is identical. All the parts are still usefully available. It's gone up that much, right up to, quite often, online shops are 1,400 for it. So I just wipe the spittle. Ooh, I've come over all strange. I just can't believe that they can put the price up that much. But they have, I suppose. Now everything's online. All the manufacturers or retailers can compare prices and just keep nudging them up a little bit. Hence the fact it's well worth trying to replace all the bits as they fail. Forgive the filth, but it is 23 years old. But here's the offending item, the other half of it. Absolutely dreadful. The first thing that went wrong after about 4 or 5 years was the bearing. There's the motor, and the bearing that sits at the bottom of it rusted. But I managed to get the motor off, get a standard replacement bearing, great, lovely, all worked, until a couple of years later after that it all went rusty and seized up again. So I took it apart and found, and this is why I know it's an intentional thing, the moulding, this bit in there's the centrifugal impeller, then a ceramic seal which has a teensy little bit of leakage inevitably, then the bearing, then the motor, and they designed this with a cup-shaped top on this pump enclosure so that any water leaking past would pool and make a little pond in which to sit the bearing in, so it would definitely rust. I then solved it by filing and cutting a little slot out. It was as simple as that. so that any water in there runs out below the level of the bearing. Isn't that disgusting? So that's a deliberate design attempt to make this fail. So that's that bit. And the switches, the two switches that control the high and low speed, they were not waterproof micro switches. I subsequently replaced them with waterproof ones. So inevitably, with, you know, all the damp, humidity and water running everywhere, they failed. So I replaced those with other ones from RS, I think. They're still working. Taking it apart and putting it back together meant that that snapped because that's far too thin, so I've had to screw that together. And and the transformer burnt out because it's only got a duty rating of 15 minutes on and then 45 minutes off, because obviously they've used thin wire because it's cheaper and it's not meant to run all the time. But because the switches went wrong, it then did stay on regularly or switched itself on, and then obviously the valve was closed, so it would be working against an enormous amount of pressure, and it burnt the transformer out. So I managed to get a second-hand one of those, or a second-hand new one from eBay for about £80. But again, you know, everything about this is designed really badly. So that is the enclosure for the canister, and you can see, hopefully, there's an inlet in the back that connects to one of these pipes, and also there's the inlet that takes the other pipe in, and I don't know which one's which, but that's where that goes. Okay. Phew, thank goodness for that. The replacement canister has just arrived. Look, clean and shiny. Ooh, and a very thick instruction book. Should we ignore that? I also ordered a new knob, so that's going to be nice. That hopefully will stay on. And it comes with a box with O-rings and things, so I probably should read the instructions, and a nice sort of gasket thing with a filter in it. So that's nice. Oh, the other thing I remembered, isn't it funny? We noticed very quickly that the temperature setting on this would stick. So every time you used it, you needed to wipe it backwards and forwards and then set it to the right temperature, because it sort of gets stuck where it was. There's nothing about it in the instructions or anything. And then I noticed when they were re-advertising it and I was doing some research, they made a huge selling point of it, saying automatic cleaning of the mechanism. Each time you switch it on, you move it to the left and right, and it keeps everything clean and working. Oh, talk about BS. How ridiculous. Sadly, however, our shower isn't one of the ones shown. Oh well, fingers crossed. Right, time to go and get it installed. The instructions are actually very good. Well, that's fitted back in really nicely. Got it tightened with my star thing. And luckily I managed to find in the end where the hot and cold gate valves were. They're not close. They're at source rather than this end of things. Here's some interesting plumbing in my son's bedroom. It was meant to be possibly moved or hidden away, but 30 years later and it's still on view. So this is the hot water. So let's open that up and we're going to see if it's leaking. My daughter's just come home, so we'll be desperate to wash her hair, so I'd better speed up. Into hallowed ground. The first time I've ever videoed up here. Surprise, surprise. Now you'll know that I like collecting and hoarding stuff. Oh, ow, never throw anything away. There's the model I built, 1/10 scale model of our house, as a present for my wife. It was so large that it's in 3 parts, stored for a rainy day. Oh, so much stuff. But what we're looking for, very expensive, overpriced, hopeless Dyson Hoover. Save that for a rainy day. There's old Lego kits. Oh, there's just so much stuff. And there's a hot water cylinder tank. Cold water cylinder. Oh, it's all so exciting. And there is the easy to access gate valve that does quite why there's a book of Pantone up here. I have absolutely no idea why would I have bought that up while I was plumbing. Oh, and look, my collection of Look and Learn magazines from when I was a child. Oh, so much stuff. Both valves, hot and cold, are on, and nothing is spurting out in an untoward fashion. That's nice, and hopefully having this new cartridge will mean that it stops dripping at night, which will be great. I'll get the switch on and get it all back together. I just noticed one of the switches, the micro switches, wasn't releasing fully, because the way it works, on the inside of the control thing, there's a cam. You can see it's two positions, off, one switch on and the other switch on. They work off this little runner thing. You can hear it clicking twice and it was seized up. So an application of WD-40, and it's freed up all these bits, because they're right at the bottom. Any sort of bits of furred up water and drips and things get all stuck in that lot. Let's give it a go. So get the air out of the pipes. Look at that. Brilliant. Another thing repaired. Having filmed this video, I thought I'd make a little extra series on the side of how-to videos. Do let me know if you want more of these things in the pipeline, or if you find them tedious. I've enjoyed fixing it because I've got a real sense of satisfaction and achievement that I have hopefully brought another few years of life to our dear Aqualisa Powerstream. And hopefully, if you've got one of these, or if you find this interesting, it could help you repair with your own showers and keep them going. Hey, thank you very much.